Hello guys, today we want to look at Half of a Yellow Sun, which is a remarkable book by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I want to drop it here out in the universe, but I think she's the most wonderful woman ever. So, if I get to meet her, then it will be like a dream come true, like, one of my hugest dreams come true. Anyway, to the book. Half of a Yellow Sun is a book that deals with so many issues, chief of which is the Nigerian Civil War. And I have written somewhere, I'm not going to bore you with academic jargon. I've written somewhere that Half of a Yellow Sun is the most realistically written book about the Nigerian Civil War. And what I mean by that is it's the only book that I have read, in fact, I think is out there, that looks at the Nigerian Civil War as what it actually is, which is a genocide, a pogrom against the native Igbo people. But I'm not going to bore you with all of that as well. If you get to read this book, you'll understand that it tackles a lot of issues about the Nigerian state and some of the things that actually led to the Nigerian Civil War. And it tells this remarkable story through the lives of two sisters who are twins, Olanna and Kainene, and the men in their lives. So when the book begins, we first meet Ugo, who would end up being, sort of griot, the one who tells the story, because at the beginning of the book, Ugo is just like a 13-year-old boy who had just come from his village with his aunt, who was a cleaner in the university in Osaka, and she is bringing him to serve her master, who is this revolutionary academic, very smart man who, according to Ugo's aunt, he just fits the description of what we know to be the academic kind, So let me read the first page, a part of it, the first paragraph. Master was a little crazy. He had spent too many years reading books overseas, talked to himself in his office, did not always return greetings, and had too much hair. Ugu's auntie said this in a low voice as they walked on the path. But he is a good man, she added. And as long as you work well, you will eat well. You will even eat meat every day. She stopped to spit. The saliva left her mouth with a sucking sound and landed on the grass. Ugu did not believe that anybody, not even this master he was going to live with, ate meat every day. He did not disagree with his auntie, though, because he was too choked with expectation, too busy imagining his new life away from the village. Now, when Ugu arrives to live with the revolutionary, his name is Odenibo, we see that Odenibo is a good man. He is one of the people who were fighting the cause of his own people. And a little after that, we come to meet Kainene and Olanna, who are daughters of an influential businessman with a lot of connection in the newly independent Nigeria. And we meet them. They had both been educated abroad, and they are back with shiny foreign degrees to take on the world. Now, while Olanna decides to go to Nsukka to pick up a teaching position in order to stay close to her boyfriend, the revolutionary, Kainene chooses to run her father's company. So she's going to move to Port Harcourt to take care of business, from that end. Now, they are both accomplished. They are beautiful. So while Odenibo is Olanna's lover, Kainene meets this British man, Richard, who is so interested in everything Igbo. In fact, he can speak Igbo. He's working on a novel or a book of some sort about the Igbo arts. And he's so interested in this and so taken by Kainene that he actually meets her at a party where he was attending with his girlfriend, and as soon as he meets her, then that's the end, with that other relationship. So these two women, they are living in different places, two different parts of Nigeria, and they're doing well for themselves. Now, all of a sudden, Olanna is in Nsukka, living with this man who she absolutely adores, but doesn't want to marry, because she just, she doesn't feel that there's something special about marriage. You don't have to get married to show their commitment to each other. So she's living with him until his mother comes to visit. Now, when Mama arrives at Nsukka, she is going straight for the jugular. She wants to let this woman know, this educated woman who's living with her son without him paying her bride price. She wants her to. So Mama wants Olanna to know that she is not the kind of woman she wants for her son. She even comes to visit with this shy, almost teenage girl called Amala, and Amala does whatever Mama says. Mama would prefer for her son to marry Amala, but that's okay. So because of the way that Mama was treating her, it puts a little bit of a strain on the relationship between Olanna and Odenigbo. So she flew to Kano to visit her aunt and her family. She likes to visit them, so she's in Kano visiting. And things are beginning to get a little bit hot in the country. This age-old ethnic strife between the Hausa north and the Igbo in the south. So, while all of these things are happening, there are a lot of changes happening on the surface. People are beginning to feel the unrest. Long and short of the story, the war catches up with, the beginning of the war catches up with Olanna while she's in Kano. Next time she's there, she even witnesses this very horrific sight where a mother was carrying the severed head of her child in a calabash, and it stays with her for a long time, really haunting stuff. Back home, Mama gets Odenigbo drunk, if we can say that, keeps plying him with palm wine. He's drunk enough to have sex with Amala. Olanna comes back, realizes that something had gone wrong, moves to her own flat in the university, and it takes a lot of begging before she will forgive Odenigbo. Weirdly, Richard, remember him, the British guy who's interested in writing about the Igbo people, he's also in Nsukka at the moment, while Olanna's twin is in Port Harcourt running her father's company. He's in Nsukka teaching in the English department, and somehow, in the midst of all of these things happening, Olanna has an affair with Richard. We are kind of shocked, for her to be painted as that sort of person, and that was the only way, for her to forgive Odenigbo for what he had done. She told him what happened, with Richard. Ordinarily, so when trouble starts in the north, and the northerners are killing their southern neighbors, their Igbo neighbors, Olanna is caught in the middle because she had gone to visit her aunt. And the only way, because right in front of her, she watches her auntie's neighbor kill her entire family. And she barely escaped. The reason she escaped is because of this northern boyfriend who she conveniently broke up with when she met Odenigbo. And it is the same guy. Of course, she loved him, but, it was going to be difficult for them to actually be together in the Nigeria of the 1960s portrayed in the book. Even in the Nigeria of today, it's quite tricky. The northerners are predominantly Muslim, and the southerners are predominantly Christian. So it's a little bit of a problem there. So a little bit of a clash of belief and stuff like that. So she escapes with the help of this guy. And while she is trying to escape, she's inside the bus trying to get to Nsukka, because they're already killing people at the airport. Remember Richard? Richard was also on a flight, and he witnesses this horrific massacre of Igbo people, at the airport in Kano. In fact, he had just been speaking with an airport official who had introduced himself and told him where he was from, and then all of a sudden these military people storm this place and they are asking everybody for their passports. Once they identify you as Igbo or you can't speak Hausa, they were just shooting people, and this is horrific. Now he's witnessing this. Olana is witnessing these horrors on this escape ride. She even meets a woman who is carrying the severed head of her daughter in a calabash. She's hunting. She is unable to be free of that image for months after she witnesses it. Now, these things are happening up in the north and in the south. Now, this is where a little bit of history comes into the book. In the south, the governor of the southern region at the time, Odumegwu Ojukwu, he decides to protect his people. So he says, my people are not free in this country, so we're going to form our own country. So he declares the Republic of Biafra. And to date, that Biafran dream, never materialized. Some people are still stuck on it. I don't even believe it's the best way forward. But for that particular moment, it was the best thing that he could do. Try to pull out all the Igbo people from everywhere else and bring them to the east, the southern part of Nigeria, and tries to create a life. So while the war is raging, because now that the Biafran Republic had been declared, there is a full-blown war. The Southerners are trying to protect themselves against the Nigerian troops. The Nigerian state is fighting against this breakaway state within Nigeria. It's absolutely horrific, especially because people were dying a lot in the south because there were no provisions for food and things like that. And all the other countries, including Britain, that colonized Nigeria, because you don't want to be on the bad side of a war. You're going to fight with those who are recognized. Biafra is not recognized. Only a few countries offered any kind of help. The world watched while we died. There was a part in the book where that particular book was written. It was horrible. Or there was even a report when finally the international media caught wind of what was going on. They didn't even understand it. They were writing that the war was probably because of hunger and things like that. It was just horrible. Now, the southern states are falling one after the other. Nsukka falls to the war, and Olana and Odenigbo and Ugwu, as well as the little girl, I didn't tell you about her, Amala, little girl that's Mama brings to her son. She became pregnant. She has this baby that she won't even look at. So Mama brings the baby and dumps it in Odenigbo's house and walks away. So after Olana has gone through all this trauma, and she's back to her senses, she adopts a little girl. She forgives her man. Decides to move on, and so they are all together as a family trying to escape this war. And so they keep running from one city to the other, from one state to the other, as these places are falling to the war. There's hardly food. They are volunteering in whatever way they can. Odenigbo, who is now a shadow of his once vibrant self, has even fallen into the trap of alcoholism because he's mad that all of those things are happening. There's hopelessness everywhere, and everybody's trying to survive. There are no supplies, no healthcare, and what have you. Even when they decide to get married, they are like in the middle of the wedding, and this shelling just happens, and everybody runs helter-skelter, and they lose their friend Okoma, who is a very fantastic poet who was always coming around to the house in Nsukka, because Odenigbo always had these academic friends over, and they would drink and discuss issues and stuff like that. Now, These things are happening. Long and short, everything is happening. The war is raging. Because Olana and Kainene's parents are rich, they offered to whisk them away like most rich people were doing at the time. They were going away to other countries until to wait it out. They had a plane ready. They had tickets and all of that. But Olana declines. Kainene as well. At some point, Kainene leaves Port Harcourt and comes to join her. Well, not really. She invites her sister to where she had set up this refugee camp where she was helping other people. She was trying to source for food and feeding these people and helping them. It was remarkable what they were doing, their efforts towards helping other people during this war. Now, while all of these things are happening, and these cities are falling, and people are dying all around, and children are dying of kwashiorkor, they're dying of all kinds of diseases, malnourishment, malnutrition. These people are just depicted as victims of this war. They didn't do anything. They didn't ask for people to start killing people in the north. They didn't ask for any of this to happen, and they are paying this heavy price. Everybody's lives are turned upside down. They don't know what they're doing anymore. Ugu even gets conscripted forcefully into the army. He witnesses horrific things. He was involved in a gang rape. All kinds of things happened to him. At some point, they thought he was dead until he later returned. And this little girl, baby, as they call her, she is growing up in the middle of this war. Now, the book is divided into two parts, the early 60s and the late 60s, because the war started in the late 60s, started in 1967 and ended in 1970. And in the middle of all of this, people are disappearing, things are happening. Now, the most tragic thing happens in the end. Kainene goes over enemy lines to go to this black market where they call Afia Attack to buy food for the people under her care. It's a dangerous trip, and she's made it a few times. But unfortunately, this time around, she goes and she never returns. And until the end of the novel, we don't know what happened to her. It's heartbreaking. All the losses, all the pain. Richard is obviously heartbroken. He can't believe what has happened. Olana cannot let go of her sister. It turns her into this very pained person. It's so painful, very painful that let me read something to you. Why is Auntie Kainene still at Afia Attack? Baby asked often with a steady, suspicious look. Stop asking me this, child, Olana said. But she saw a sign in baby's questions too, although she could not yet decipher its meaning. Odenibo told her that she had to stop seeing signs in everything. She was angry that he could disagree with her seeing signs of Kainene's return. And then she was grateful that he did, because it meant he did not believe that anything had happened that would make his disagreeing inappropriate. Olana is losing her mind because, people are returning from wherever. The war is over. Biafra had fallen. The Biafran leader has gone on exile. His deputy has accepted to call a truce. No victor, no vanquished. And it's the end of the war. And nothing comes out of it. So when some relatives came from Umunachi and suggested that they consult a dibia, Olana asked her uncle Osita to go. She gave him a bottle of whiskey and some money. She's beginning to believe in things that she didn't believe in before because of this huge loss, this traumatic thing that's happened to her. Maybe I didn't do something right, she told Odenibo. They were in his study. The floor was littered with blackened paper crisps from the pages of his half-burnt books. The war has ended, but hunger has not, okay? That Dibia was just hungry for goat meat. You can't believe in that. I do believe in it. I believe in everything. I believe in anything that will bring my sister home. She is inconsolable. And until the end, we don't know what happened to Kainene. It's so heartbreaking. And this is a reality of so many families. So many people didn't get to see their grandfathers, their great-grandfathers, because they never returned home after the war. They don't know what happened to them. Nobody knows whether they were killed, whether they were shot. It's horrible. People have lost a lot of things in that war. The war that ended over 50 years ago, but the trauma remains fresh. It's a very, very harrowing tale of the Nigerian Civil War. And in the end, the book, The World Was Silent When We Died, which we now see is a book written by Ugu. Remember, Ugu was just 13 when he came, and now he's educated, he's a writer, and Ugu writes his dedication last for Master, my good man, because that's what Odenigbo always called him, my good man. So, in the end, there's a bit of hope, but we'll never know what happened to Kainene and all those millions of people that just disappeared. Tensions are still there. The age-old North versus South struggles are still there. So it makes you feel sometimes that those people just paid that price for nothing. You know, and families like the family of Kainene, who would never know what happened to their loved ones, they just don't have anything to console them, do they? Anyway, if you'd like to know more about the book, please like, subscribe, so you'll know when I do another video about another book that you'd love to read. And try to comment, let me know what you'd like to know. And head over to www.strokesonpaper.com to read more book reviews, especially about this one, so you'd actually, you know, have something to read. And if you'd like to see the references for the reviews and the papers that I put in there about some of my favorite books, you just let me know. So thank you so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you again in the next video.